In this video, I want to talk about the power of consumer choice, the power of consumer choice. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but I think it's a concept I've already touched on a little bit, but one that I want to dig into a little bit further. Now that you understand a little bit more about cash discounting, I want to make sure you understand why this is really a good thing for the consumer. One of the really interesting studies the last year was actually done by the ACLU that was talking about this issue where payment processing in the United States is something that is slanted to where those who are in poverty actually benefit less from the payment processing industry than those who are not in poverty, those who are doing better. Why? Because those who are what they call underbanked, those who don't have bank accounts or don't have money, they oftentimes aren't able to get a rewards card. They aren't able to get a frequent flyer, card or a cashback rewards card. They're not able to gain access to this additional convenience and this additional financial benefit. And so it's one of the reasons why the ACLU came out with a study in favor of cash discounting and surcharging and these other programs that differentiate between someone paying with a card versus somebody paying with cash. Because the truth of the matter is, there are people who are able to use a credit card that are disproportionately benefiting from that transaction. And so what happens is business owners, as we've talked about, they are going to raise their prices. I mean, that's the way it goes. If you're a business owner and your costs go up, you're going to raise your price. And if you raise your price across the board on everybody for everything, then that is going to penalize those who do not have credit cards so that people who do have credit cards can get their cashback rewards. And that's really fundamentally unfair. And so the power of choice, when we implement this program, it allows consumers to choose which form of payment they want to use. If they want to use their cashback rewards card, good for them, great. If they look at that and say, hey, I know the price is a little higher, but I'm getting rewards points and I'm getting convenience and I'm getting access to additional funding and I'm willing to pay a little bit more to be able to use that card, then great, they can use that card. But we shouldn't penalize the person who comes in and says, I don't want to use that card for whatever reason. Maybe they can't, maybe they aren't even able to get that kind of card, but they have cash and they want to pay. Why should they pay more so that somebody else can pay less? It just doesn't make any sense. And so it's the power of choice. And I'm very passionate about that. I will tell you that in my opinion so far, as I've worked with literally thousands of agents on these programs, the number one reason why agents are not able to sell cash discounting, the number one reason is they don't believe that it is the right decision for the business owner and or they don't believe it is the right thing for the consumer. And if you don't believe the program makes sense, that it's a good decision, you can't sell it effectively, It's just the way we're wired, I'm that way just big time, I can't sell something I don't believe in. If I don't really believe in it, I can't sell it. And it's interesting. When I first went out to sell cash discounting 3.5, 4 years ago, I'm like, I got to try this out. I'll be honest. In my mind, I didn't understand all of this. I didn't really understand how it works. And to me, the idea initially seemed kind of stupid. It seemed kind of crazy. Why would a business owner charge their customers more to use a credit card? Aren't they just going to drive customers away? Aren't customers going to be upset by that? And that was my mindset, almost like the business owner's ripping off the customer, That was my mindset when I went out to try to sell cash discounting for the first time. Would you like to know how many sales I made the first 2 days I was out? 0. Now, I am an experienced sales professional. I train people how to sell. I know the industry inside and out, and I got 0 sales my first 2 days. Why? Because I didn't believe in it. And it was so obvious in my pitch, in my presentation, I was kind of pulling my punches. I wasn't passionate about it. People could tell I didn't really believe in it. And so the whole reason I'm making this video for you about the power of choice is to convince you, as I am convinced now, and now it's easy to sell cash discounting, I really, truly believe it is the right thing for these business owners. And by extension, I believe it's the right thing for the consumer. Not even really by extension, totally separate. It's just the right thing for the consumer. Why? Because different consumers are getting different benefits by using different forms of payment. And so if the cost of payments is going to go up And if business owners are going to do price increases over a period of time to cover the cost of the increase on payment processing, why not go ahead and separate these two things out and give one price when somebody pays with their credit card and one price when somebody pays cash? It's more fair to the consumer. It's fair to the merchant who really doesn't get any big benefit anymore out of somebody using their card versus cash. It's not like for a business owner, they're just super pumped when somebody comes in and is like, well, I'm going to buy this $100 item. Which should I use? Well, should I use cash or should I use my credit card? For a business owner, they get no extra benefit. It's not like the business owner is getting cashback rewards. So why should they pay? It doesn't make any sense. They're not getting any benefit at all out of that anymore. People have multiple forms of payment. So the question is, who is getting the benefit by having this power of choice? Is it the business owner? No. Is it the banks and the card brands? No, not at all. The only group that is getting a benefit out of having this power of choice and these multiple forms of payment is the consumer. So who should pay for this benefit? The consumer. Okay? It's fair. It makes sense. It doesn't penalize people that don't have access to these kinds of cards. It's just a system that's a free market principle that really just makes a lot of sense.